In this tutorial, I just wanted to talk about the div0 error in Excel, what it is, why you might get it, and how you can fix it. So the div0 error in Excel is just basically an error that you get whenever you are either trying to directly or indirectly divide something by 0 in Excel, which is something that it just can't be done. So one of the things that you can do to try to fix it, there are a few things that you can do, but the easiest thing that you can do to try to fix it is to use the if error function to just basically say, hey, if this calculation that I'm trying to do results in any sort of error, what do I want to return instead? So for example, I could do if equals if error, open parentheses, the calculation that you're doing is the value for your argument, and then comma, what do you want to return as an error? Well, I want the text of NA if there's an error. As you can see, now what was an error is now an A. But what if it's an error that you have in your data that you have to work with, right? If you can't just really go in your data and fix the error, you have to work with it. Or it's a bunch of errors that you're just trying to work with and mainly cleaning it up won't work. To work with data that has an error in it, you can try to do the aggregate function. So this basically just allows you to do calculation in Excel while ignoring things like errors and hidden rows, for example. So I'd say we want to do an average of all these three numbers. For example, we could do equals aggregate or parentheses. So what's the function you want to do? Well, we want to do an average, so which number one corresponds to the average. Comma option, so what do we want the aggregate function to do? Well, we want to ignore error values, which corresponds to a 6 in this list, and then comma the array. So basically what do we want to do the calculation on? We want to do the calculation on these numbers. And as you can see, whenever I copy and paste this down, it gives me the average despite the error. Well, just a simple average function wouldn't do that. And as you can see, this simple average returns the same error. The aggregate function ignores the error value. Another thing that you can do is you can say, hey, you can try to use the if function or some sort of if logic to say, hey, if one of the values that I am working with is a 0, then return this. So instead of if error, just a simple if function. So for example, you can say, hey, if, if for example this equals 0, then I want to just say the text NA. And if it's that doesn't equal 0, I want to do that over that. And as you can see, now it returns the text NA. But the biggest thing about using if versus if error is that the if logic is much more useful if you have a bunch of formulas that are nested together, and if the div0 is somewhere kind of deep in what you're working with, versus if error is great if you're just trying to nest an entire formula and it's not necessarily as deep with what you're working with. And of course, you can just go ahead and, if possible, adjust your data to fix it. So, for example, if this is a 0, you can just say this is a 2. And if at all possible, if you can adjust your data and put something in place of 0, that will fix your um, issue. But obviously, it's not always a potential solution. So, hope you found this to be helpful. Hope this will help you kind of solve some issues that you're having. If it did, like, subscribe, comment, and any support super helpful. You have a great day.